In this particular session, I will be talking about OSI model and what are the layers in that. Hello guys, how you all are doing? Mostly you will be doing fine. So I came up with this series of networking. You know why? Because nowadays in this era of cyber crimes, we must know how to protect ourselves. And for that, the basic thing is networking. Moreover, we have this subject in our curriculum also, so that's why it was mandatory for keeping this networking in mind. One more thing, that I'm really very sorry for taking so much long for this video, because my previous video was nearly 1 month ago, and in this 1 month I was just going through all this setup things and I was initializing my CPU. Basically, I will dedicate a complete video on how to assemble a PC and what things to keep in mind, because you know it's really a hectic work. So again, coming back to our topic, networking, we will be dealing with all the facts and figures in this complete series. Actually, for now I don't know how many videos will be there in this series, but I will clear all your basic thoughts, figures, everything about networking. So it will be useful for college students or for anyone who wants to shift their career for networking field or cybersecurity field, because networking is necessary and basically is the very basic thing required for coming to this cybersecurity field and networking field. So without wasting any of our time, we must go with this networking thing, and in this particular session I will be talking about OSI model and what are the layers in that, because it's the very basic thing and I will make all the concepts clear. So let's begin. So guys, let's move forward with our OSI model. And basically, let me tell you first of all what OSI is. It is just, for now you should know in layman, that OSI is a channel by which process or systems or entities within a particular network communicates with each other. Just in a normal term, if you are able to view this video right now, it's just due to this channel. Okay, so OSI is basically, we can term it as a channel or a medium by which we are able to browse internet or do stuffs in internet. And it was implemented in 1970s by ISO, it's Indian Organization for Standardization, and basically they are the godfathers of modern internet. They were the ones who were there for implementation of many like these OSI models, TCP IP, many are there. Basically, you should know that OSI is the latest one. Before this there was a TCP/IP model which is basically used, but you know what, OSI is just the basic of networking. OSI is having different layers. There are basically 7 layers. The first one that comes is the application layer. So here, everything which we are able to see on internet, like our mailing systems, like the HTTP and HTTPS, everything which we are particularly seeing, these are basically called as process. Okay, and we could also call them as client side apps. Okay, because we in general are clients right now and we are requesting something from server, so these can be termed as client side applications. And basically, application layer concentrates on data. Okay, basically you should know right now that application layer is the layer which gives the process to process communication. By that we mean, if I send a mail to someone named X, the person will receive the mail and this operation is carried out by application layer. So application layer examples I could give as browser, mailing systems like Chrome can be an application layer software. So basically the protocols which we deal in application layer, the most important protocol is HTTP and HTTPS. HTTP is generally the hypertext transfer protocol and the HTTPS is HTTP with secure. So guys, listen, there are different protocols in every layer. There are like nearly hundreds and thousands of protocol, and these all are documented in RFC. It's just a documentary study or document book, whichever you wanna say. They classify everything which is related to that particular protocols. FTP and Yeah, SMTP, POP, and IMPS. Yeah, these all are the basic protocols here. For port numbers, you do not need to classify right now because you guys will not understand what these means, what they do and everything. This is a sort of hectic thing when you see at first. Let me give you one trick question that you know how your computer channelizes to network, like you type www.google.com and it opens a web page. How it knows that yeah, I have to open this particular web page and all. So these all things we will be learning in this particular course. So for now, let us move forward. Like, it was the first layer which we talked about, that was application layer. The second important layer, like, it is important, it's the presentation layer. It goes with encryption and decryption. So let me tell you, anything you transfer or you send or receive on internet is not in just like text manner or something. They are encrypted rather in MD5 encryption, or there are many types of encryption right there. So this layer is basically for targeting the encryptions and decryptions. If the data is encrypted, it will decrypt it. I have to send data to someone. This layer is responsible for encrypting the data, because if we are not encrypting data, like, we are welcoming hackers for unknown authority of data, which is very bad. Session layer. So basically, let me tell you, in online classes which we had in basically last semester, there was a Google Meet session, Zoom session, and everything was nearly termed as sessions and all. So what is a session? It's generally a time period, let me tell you, or basically we can term it as a range of time which we do something in that. So yeah, session layer just makes the connection for a particular period of time. Like, it concentrates on whether to disconnect from that particular connection which is made using TCP, UDP. There are many protocols, you just don't need to confuse right now. You just know that session layer is someone that just manipulates the communication. Like, I am talking on a phone. When I press that red button, the phone disconnects. And when I press the green button on any particular contact, the phone is connected. So this is managed by session layer, that how much time the connection will be there, for how much time the systems are gonna connect, for how much time the systems will recite each other's packet, transfer information, and all these things is mentioned by and maintained by session layer. Now let's move to one more important layer which is really important, is the transport layer. In college syllabus, transport layer will be I think module 2. So transport layer is important because particularly if we have a chunk of data, like we are sending 2 MB or 3 MB file, it cannot be sent directly. Like, they cannot transfer 2 MB file directly to someone else. So data is broken down into smaller bits and bytes. We do not need to right now understand how data is broken and all. Just understand that a huge chunk of data is broken into smaller divisions. And you know what, if data is broken into standard division, there must be some rules governing that, yeah, first this packet should arrive, second this packet should arrive, third this packet should arrive, so that uniformity is maintained in data. Like, I am sending someone that, hi, how are you? So first hi should go, then how are you, this way this should go. And this is ensured by transport layer. It is responsible for breaking this chunk and just ordering it so that the data received on other side is the same data that the sender has sent. We could term transport layer as flow control layer, because in actual it's controlling the flow of data, like how data is flowing from sender to receiver. In this layer, the data is broken into datagram, and after that this uniformity is maintained. So transport layer is really an important one, because we are going to consider on the uniformity part a lot. So yeah, let's move to one more important layer, if you are guessing, is this network layer. Basically, as the name suggests, network. So network basically communicates using IP address. Let me just brief you about IP address is that if there is written Google, so this is a name. Basically, my name is Prajwal and many other people have their names, but with name they have an Aadhaar number. Okay, so which is in numeric characters, right? So in case of servers and clients and computers and all the things, they have a name which is classified as host name, and they even have a IP address. So for us it is Google, but for clients and this computers and network, this is an IP address which can be of anything like this, something like this. So this is basically an IP address. It's just a numeric character which identifies a particular entity on a network. Okay, so network layer just identifies the IP address on which it has to send or receive the data. For example, I am sending the data to a particular person named X. I will say that X, hi, how are you? So in the same way, when computers communicate, they will have to ping a particular IP. Like this IP, I want to send you a packet. Are you ready to receive? So that IP address will acknowledge it back that yeah, IP this, like the IP address of first network, I am ready to accept your packet. So after that the connection is channelized. So basically network layer manages the IP addresses and they identify the entities on the network. The packets is sent and received just after network layer gives the confirmation that yeah, the connection is established. Basically the network is established. So now let's move to our one more layer. Basically you should all be remembering the names of layers basically, because this is very much important for placement perspective, because the people will be asking, the first question will be that you know OSI model, what are the layers and all, so you must be remembering the names. So guys, let's talk about our next layer, which is the data link layer basically. And here we are considering frames as our unit. Like when we are talking about application, presentation, session and transport, we were talking about data only. But when we came to network, we were talking in consideration about packets. When we came again to data link, we are talking about frames. When we will go further down, the data will be again broken down into bits. Okay, so first it was data, after that it came into packets, and after that it is in frames, and at last it will be in bits. The protocols which we are talking at the beginning of this video is identified by this layer. So let me tell you what protocols are. These are nothing but rules. So what if I am asked to send text but I send picture? It will be bad, right? So these are rules which govern that how a person is sending something, what is asked and what is sent. There are many different rules for HTTP, FTP, there are like lots of rules. So basically this data link layer identifies the protocol. Like if we are channelizing a email, so protocol must be SMTP or IMAP or POP. So this is the identification done. Later on, it considers it in frames so that the data can be hopped to the network layer. This is because particularly we have to transfer this frames to the network layer so that it could identify the IP address and send the data. So hopping is required in this network layer so that data can be transferred further. So data link layer's major work is to identify and govern the protocol. So let us talk about our last layer, that is the physical layer, or basically I could say this to be the most basic or first layer, because it can be from application to physical or physical to application. Basically it is physical to application, and in between this there are 5 more layers. Okay, so physical layer is nothing but wires, cables, can be wireless, like it's the medium of communication. So guys, basically how a person is connected to network, there must be some channel, there must be some medium by which we are connected. So this is the physical, as the name suggests, medium by which someone is connected. Let me tell you a fun fact. All over this www is connected through, yeah, you guessed it right, cables. But what do you think, where it is? Like high up in air or deep underground? It's basically deep but in oceans. So yeah, the complete internet is channelized through deep oceans. So physical layer is nothing but medium by which we are connected. For you, if you are viewing this video on the mobile phone, GSM is the medium, or basically you can say 4G LTE is the medium. But there must be some medium, there must be some channel by which the connection is made, and after that the data and bits are converted into frames, encryption is done. Like it's the first thing which should be there for any connection to be made. So this is the last slide of this video, guys. Basically we are having all the 7 layers right over here. I have given the protocols right over here which are like most famous, and I have done basic naming by which you could recall what PK has said in this video. So basically application was the client side programming, like all the mailing or browsing thing which you all could see. Second was the presentation layer, which is basically the encryptor which encrypts the data. The third one was the session layer, which keeps the time, like how much time the data must be there. Fourth one is the transport, which sequences the packets, like there was different datagrams and they must need to be numbered and seen whether they are received on the particular site. Fifth one is the network, which identifies the IP addresses and makes the connection. So this is the connection maker. The second last is the data link layer, which identifies the protocol and hops the network. And the last one is the medium, basically, which connects the networks to each other. So these are all our 7 different layers, and basically while sending the data, we first go through physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation, application, and after that while receiving the data we go in vice versa. So this is the major classification which could be asked in OSI layers by the interviewers for placement. Basically this is major important thing in networking which anyone could expect you to know in networking. So guys, we are having many different words here. This is the ARP, this is the TCP, and we are having this HTTP. Basically we are gonna make videos on this in the ethical hacking series. ARP spoofing is there, TCP connection channeling is there. So we will be having particular sessions in that in the ethical hacking course, which I am gonna start very soon. Actually, I am also a college student like you all, so not getting enough time, but I will be there with you for any doubts and queries about anything in OSI layer which I have discussed yet far. You could add in the comment section, and basically more videos will be coming in this networking playlist, so stay updated and please subscribe because it motivates. Thank you guys.